Wow, look at this beauty. 32-bit, CD-based, 3D polygons. The 90s. This is the Sony PlayStation, the first CD-based console that took the video game world by storm. What?
The 3DO was the first one.
Sure? 3DO?
Yeah. And then Sega CD.
Sega CD, okay. Not the first one, but it was the most popular one. This is the Sony PlayStation, a CD-based video game console that took the world by storm. With the 30th anniversary of the Sony PlayStation upon us and 5 iterations of the console over 3 decades, here are some fun facts about the Sony PlayStation, the console that started it all. So first off, the PlayStation was originally designed for Nintendo. This information may come as a surprise to many, especially for those who grew up playing the first generation PlayStation and enjoyed the diverse range of games it offered, like Spyro the Dragon, Gran Turismo, Metal Gear, and Final Fantasy. What may not be widely known is that Sony originally developed the PlayStation 1 for Nintendo. Sony created a prototype called the PlayStation, which was 2 words, and delivered it to Nintendo, which planned to rebrand and distribute it under its own name. Meanwhile, Nintendo entered into an agreement with Philips to develop its own games, which angered Sony. This fallout motivated Sony to complete the PlayStation project independently and launch it globally, leading to the iconic console that we know today. In a short period of time, the PlayStation 1 took the world by storm as the first gaming console to use CDs and showcase 3D games. Meanwhile, Nintendo struggled with the failure of its first device, which was a result of its collaboration with Philips. The symbols on the controller mean something. What sets the PlayStation controllers apart are the 4 iconic symbols on the directional buttons: the square, the triangle, the circle, and the cross, which is also known as X. Many may not be realized that these symbols weren't randomly chosen by the designer, but have specific meanings, especially for the Japanese version of the console. The triangle represents the player's viewpoint, meant for controlling the camera or character's perspective in a game. The square symbol symbolizes the menu or map, while the circle stands for OK or confirmation, and the X button indicates the cancel. The game discs were black. The PlayStation 1 discs were unique for their black bottoms, making them stand out as the strangest color in the market at the time. The color didn't serve any functional purpose, but looked cool and made them easily recognizable. Chrono Cross. The total number of PS1 titles varies depending on the source, but it's estimated that around 4,000 games were released globally, which is nearly 967 million units sold. In 1994, the PS1 discs were groundbreaking for their time, offering 650 megabytes of storage compared to the 12 megabytes used by other game formats. This massive capacity allowed for advanced 3D graphics and the rich music the PlayStation 1 became known for. However, this led to one downside: notoriously slow loading times. Slow loading times was definitely a downside, but because of the CD, manufacturers were able to make really great games. For example, the CD was one of the main reasons that Squaresoft moved from Nintendo to Sega. The Final Fantasy series is a great example of this. As we all know, Final Fantasy 1 and 2 were released on Nintendo, and then Final Fantasy 3 or 6 was on this. The numbering system's weird. It's Japanese and American, something odd about that. Anyway, Final Fantasy 7 made its move, was going to be released on the Super Nintendo, but The disk space made it possible for a great game, and there it was. The massive storage space was meant that they could make the best Final Fantasy game of the time. The games were so huge that it spanned 3 discs. The largest game on the PlayStation is Riven, coming in at 5 discs. That's 3.2 gigabytes to you and me. And finally, the machine sold quite well. The PlayStation debuted in Japan on December 3rd, 1994, and went on to sell 102 million units, along with several versions before discontinuing production in 2004. The console came in a variety of colors, including gray, black, white, green, and blue. I've never seen anything other than gray, though. There were also special editions such as the Midnight Blue edition, which was only 100 units released, and the Men in Black version. And I've never seen those either. Over time, many variations were released with minor adjustments to connectors and other features, i.e. the RCA port on the back of the console and the analog control sticks on the controllers for the version 2. The PlayStation came in 2 major sizes, the original rectangular box-shaped model and the more compact, curvier PS1 model, which launched in 2000. And from there, the PlayStation 2 was released, which was one of the best-selling consoles of all time. The PlayStation 3, which was a nightmare for developers to make games for. The PlayStation 4, which looked like a giant eraser. And, yeah. And then the PlayStation 5, which is really popular amongst people. I'm not too sure why. Like, people want that thing so bad. I don't know. I don't understand why they want it so bad. Every ad that I see, every TikTok that I see online is all about the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation... No one wants the Xbox with Series X. Probably because they can't say it right or they get confused with the iterations. Doesn't matter. The PlayStation, A1 system. Great time. Those are your fun facts. Thanks for watching.